The film opens with Jessie, our lead, playing dead in a glamorous photo shoot while a young boy professionally takes her pictures. Once she's done with the shoot, she goes backstage to wipe the fake blood off her body. While she's at it, she spots a decent young woman standing opposite her and admiring her through her mirror reflection. The woman approaches Jessie by offering her a helping hand. While she wipes the fake blood off of Jessie, she introduces herself as Ruby, the makeup artist. Through an introduction, Ruby finds out that Jessie's parents have passed away, and that she's currently living in a motel since she's new in town. Pitying the innocent Jessie, she invites her to a party she's attending. There, Ruby introduces Jessie to her friends, Sarah and Gigi, who happen to be young models. The trio and Jessie go to the bathroom for a touch-up. From their conversation, it can be concluded that the young models are narcissistic, while Jessie is hesitant and overwhelmed by the new circle. Gigi keeps judging Jessie's natural beauty and grows jealous of her because she has had multiple surgical procedures to look good. Sarah thinks Jessie is sleeping with the elite to crack their circle, but Jessie says otherwise. When they suspect that she is still a virgin, she lies and tells them that she sleeps with men all the time. The girls go out to a rave performance where they constantly stare down at Jessie. The next morning, Jessie takes her recently taken pictures to an elite modeling agency and is interviewed by an older woman. At first, the woman gives Jessie a reality check about how people around here are going to react to her or mock her appearance since it's been happening forever. The woman sees potential in her and breaks the news that she's hooked her up with Jack, a renowned photographer, as her first gig. While making Jessie sign some forms, the woman asks Jessie to lie about her age and tell everyone she's 19. More than excited, Jessie shares this news with Dean, her online friend, and the guy who was seen photographing her earlier. She flees in his car and spends most of her time with him, leading him to believe they have something special. At night, the two stop on top of a hill, where they gaze at the lit-up city. Jessie tells Dean about how the agency wants to lie about her age. This prompts Dean to ask her real age. He finds it awkward when she reveals that she's underage. Later that night, he drops Jessie at the motel and leans over to kiss her, but she backs off and leaves. When she unlocks her room door, she sees a shadowy figure on the bed, so she runs downstairs and bangs at the motel's manager's door. The manager assumes she's a junkie, but when she threatens to call the cops, the manager agrees to look over the problem. He takes his man, Mikey, to Jessie's room and finds out it has been ransacked by a wild lioness. The manager still holds Jessie accountable and asks her to pay for the damage. The next morning, she shows up at Jack's studio for her first professional shoot. There, she comes across Ruby with a gleaming smile. Ruby hugs her and takes her backstage to get ready. She gives her attention and full time to do Jessie's makeup. When Jessie is taken outside for the shoot, Jack checks her out from head to toe with dead eyes and asks everyone, including Ruby, to leave the studio. Left alone, he asks Jessie to take off all of her clothes and rub golden paint on her upper torso before the shoot. When Jessie walks out after the job's done, she finds Ruby waiting for her outside. Ruby advises Jessie not to be alone with Jack, but Jessie defends herself by saying she's not as helpless as she looks. Ruby then punches her number into Jessie's phone and openly offers to call her if she needs any type of help. Ruby goes straight to see Sarah and Gigi at a diner and tells them of Jessie's photo shoot by Jack. Sarah takes this seriously and finds Jessie her competition, but Gigi believes Jessie is a common girl and one mustn't be taking her seriously. In the next scene, a couple of models, including Sarah and Jessie, are seen waiting to be auditioned by a famous fashion designer in their undergarments. When it's Sarah's turn, she walks extra in front of the designer, but he doesn't even take a peek at her. When Jessie shows up for her turn, his eyes open wide as he silently admires her natural beauty. He immediately selects Jessie, ignoring Sarah with a tear in her eye. She goes to the bathroom and breaks the mirror out of jealousy and hatred. Jessie hears the shattering sound on her way out, so she walks into the washroom to check it. There, she finds Sarah on the floor, having the worst time of her life. Sarah tries to hit Jessie, but she immediately backs off, due to which a piece of broken mirror jabs into her palm. Sarah starts drinking her blood, so Jessie pushes her away and runs back to the motel, freaked out. Meanwhile, Ruby is seen attending her part-time job, which is to prep corpses in the morgue house for funeral houses. Back at the motel, she dodges the manager and makes it to her room successfully. There, she puts rubbing alcohol on her wound, which causes her immense pain. Simultaneously, someone knocks on her door. When she opens it, she finds Dean standing with a handful of roses. She takes the flowers and faints right away. Upon waking up, she finds Dean by her side, so she tells him everything that's been going on. Dean goes down to talk to the manager about the damage charges that he's forcing Ruby to pay, but the manager twists his words and takes all the money Dean has. Up next, Dean is shown taking out the broken glass piece from Jesse's palm with a pair of tweezers. In the next scene, Gigi spots Jessie in the makeup room for the famous designer's runway show and grows jealous of her immediately. She makes her get up from the seat, claiming it's hers. She also body shames her and accuses her of sleeping with the designer. As an instant karma, Jessie is called by the designer personally, which makes Gigi even more jealous. Now, the designer personally dresses Jessie up and makes her the showstopper. When she goes to the runway, she feels a sense of power, realizing her beauty is in demand. She pouts and kisses her mirror reflection. After the show, she dolls up and takes Dean for dinner with the designer. There, Gigi and another girl have already occupied the designer. Gigi claims the booth is too small to fit Dean in, so they end up taking a separate one. At the dinner, a conversation strikes in which the designer asks Dean to compare Gigi with Jessie and explain the difference between natural beauty and a plastic face. Gigi finds it insulting, so Dean makes a statement about himself, saying that he sees what's inside a person. Dean gets offended and asks Jessie to leave, but she gets high on power and tells Dean to leave. When Jessie returns to her motel, she finds Dean waiting for her on the staircase. Dean asks if she's becoming like the other girls too, but Jessie proudly claims that she's not becoming like them, but that they're dying to become like her. With that, she ignores Dean and walks up to her room. While she's sleeping, the manager sneaks into her room and puts a sharp dagger inside her mouth. She immediately wakes up and realizes she was having a bad dream. Right then, someone tries to pick the door's lock from the outside, so Jessie runs and locks the door from the inside. This causes the entities to break into the next room. Jessie hears the cries of the girl in the next room, so she grows afraid and gives Ruby a call. Ruby invites Jessie for a sleepover at her place. There, she gives Ruby a nightdress and a toothbrush after she's taken a bath. Ruby makes Jessie sit on the bed and starts brushing her hair in order to relax her. She starts kissing Jessie's shoulder, so Jessie gently pushes her away and tells Ruby she has the wrong impression of her. Besides that, she also reveals that she was lying about sleeping with men and is still a virgin. Ruby, who's already turned on, doesn't care and still forces herself on top of Jessie. This time, Jessie aggressively pushes her away, causing her to fall to the ground. Without saying a word, Ruby walks out and makes a face on the mirror with a lipstick that has 2 crosses instead of eyes. The next morning, Jessie finds herself alone in the house. Meanwhile, Ruby goes to her job at the morgue house and ends up making love to a dead woman out of frustration. At the same time, Jessie touches her face and body and realizes her worth in the beauty world. She does a unique makeup look and puts on one of Ruby's dresses to look good. That evening, Ruby comes home to Jessie all dressed up and staring into the empty pool. Ruby walks into the empty pool and asks what's wrong. Jessie says some narcissistic stuff by claiming that girls would starve to death or go under the knife only to look like a cheaper version of herself. Once she's done yapping about how pretty she is, she goes inside and finds Gigi and Sarah waiting for her. She acts casual, but the girls hit her. They take out knives and chase after her throughout the entire house. When she runs outside by the poolside, Ruby joins her girls too. Ruby immediately pushes Jessie into the empty pool and leaves her bleeding to death. Up next, Ruby is seen bathing in Jessie's blood, while the other two are seen showering and washing Jessie's blood off their bodies, suggesting that they've done something horrible with Jessie's body. The next morning, Ruby casually waters the plant and uses the hose to clean Jessie's blood in the pool. She then lies down in Jessie's grave for a long time. In the end, Sarah accompanies Gigi in one of her shoots done by Jack. There, Sarah tells Gigi's co-model about cannibalizing Jessie in response to the co-model's question, asking if anyone ever came in her way. Later, Jack fires the co-model mid-shoot and hires Sarah instead. When he begins shooting them, Gigi feels sick to her stomach and runs to the bathroom. When Sarah goes to check in on her, Gigi pukes out one of Jesse's eyeballs and cuts open her belly with a pair of scissors while constantly crying about getting Jesse out of her. As she dies, Sarah heartlessly picks up the eyeball and eats it before going out and continuing the shoot. Here, the film ends. I hope you liked the story recap. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Thank you for being a part of Black's Movie Recaps. If these tales of mystery and intrigue sent shivers down your spine, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Black's Movie Recap for more bone-chilling narratives. Stay tuned, and until next time, stay captivated.